So my parents were a very glamorous, romantic couple. They always behaved and went around as if they had lots of money, and they really didn't have much money at all. Because jobs, at that time, of course, there was the repertory company in the gate, and usually you would get a 6-month contract, and it was better for actors, I suppose, than it is now. But then there was the summers where there was nothing going on at all, and my mother had a wonderful policy. She'd go down to Clarendon Street Church, and she'd light a candle St. Anthony and ask for a job for father. And within a week, a job had always turned up. It was quite amazing. So she had great faith altogether in St. Anthony. But they lived in, or we lived in number 1 Herbert Street for 17 years. And Herbert Street was a very interesting place. There were lots of interesting characters around it. I suppose the most interesting was Brendan Behan. And we knew him because there was a donkey. At that stage there was a field attached to the convent there in Herbert Street. So we used to feed the donkey, and so did Brendan Behan. But as you know, he was a bit hard on the drink at times. And at the time that the choir fellow was on in the Abbey, he had to be locked in his bedroom in the evening time, because he could go a bit riot. But sometimes he managed to escape, and you would see Brendan Behan sail off in his pyjamas, going down to the Abbey, and he'd go on stage in his pyjamas and make a most unusual and personal appearance. But also you'd meet people like Jim Larkin and Liam O'Flaherty. But of course the one who's most known around there was Patrick Kavanagh. And I do remember him because I used to be brought up to the Minder, sometimes up. We'd walk all the way up to Victoria Street and we'd go along the canal. And my father would stop and talk to Patrick Kavanagh in that same seat where that sculpture is now. It's wonderful. And I do remember stopping there talking to him. But my mother, he used to annoy my mother no end, Patrick Kavanagh, because at that stage, I don't know whether anybody remember the coffee shop, Coffee Inn. Yes. It was the first coffee shop. Actually, at one recital I gave, a lady told me she was the one who had opened the coffee shop, and it was the first espresso coffee in Dublin, in that coffee shop, still she said, in Ann Street. So anyway, that was the place they'd all meet, and my mother would sail off with white gloves and the hat and looking very glamorous, and she'd be sitting in the number 10 bus, and suddenly a voice would come up from the back of the bus. Ah, there, yeah, okay. Isn't it a whore of a day? And she said, that fellow, she says, no, holy show with me, in the number 10 bus. So in memory of Patrick Kavanagh and all those wonderful characters in Baggot Street, Herbert Street, Raglan Road and Pembroke Street, Raglan